Welcome to the Baron's Hideout podcast. My name is Dustin,
I'm Aaron.
and today we're going to be talking about Summer of '84, which is a
Back in
Shudder
the
original.
80s.
And this was actually a movie I watched a couple of times, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first, but I think after the second or third time I started kind of analyzing it when I was going through, I enjoyed
hmm
it a little bit more. What about you, Aaron?
Um, we were talking earlier. I enjoyed it. For the most part, but there was a few like minor things. The ending. That um that was a little maybe disappointed with, but other than that, I think it was it did a good job of representing the 80s suburbs and
Oh,
the
for
types
sure.
of the types of things that they, just the overall vibes,
Yeah,
but
I agree. Uh, so this is another movie that we were trying to find some more facts on, but since I think this went through Sundance at first, so it went through their festival, couldn't find a lot of financial information on it. And what I did find, though, which is very weird, and I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I went to multiple different websites to just make sure this is right. But apparently, this movie only made $6,146 in the box office.
that's kind of crazy.
It's
It's got to
crazy.
be a typo or something. I feel like, but
Maybe, or as I was saying earlier before we started, maybe that's a collection of people who were at the Sundance
yeah,
Festival that watched it, if I had to
yeah,
guess.
that would make sense too. Um, I mean, if it was like a limited viewing,
Yeah, because I couldn't find if this was shown in theaters for how long it was shown in theaters or
hmm
anything like that. I couldn't even find how much this movie was bought for, like how much Shudder paid for it or
hmm
anything. It's very weird. It's one of
yeah,
those movies that it's really hard to find information on.
a little less known than the other movie. There,
Yeah, it's kind of like the I think it was when we did Jacob's Wife last week. We kind of had the same I think problem. I think it was Jacob's Wife.
that one also came out super recently, right?
Yeah,
Like this
within
year,
the
a
last two
few
weeks, I think.
weeks. Yeah.
It's great. It's still a great movie. Make sure everybody goes watch that, supports it. All that stuff. It's on demand. You can watch it wherever, rent it, anything. But we're not talking about Jacob's Wife again. As much as I really, really,
It
really enjoyed that movie,
was great.
I couldn't find any more facts other than like the people who starred in this movie.
hmm
So I think as we go on, we'll
I'll
just
introduce them.
introduce them as we see them.
Yeah. One
Aaron, I
thing I
believe I started last week
yeah.
for the starting of the movie, so I'll let you do the honors of starting us off. Actually,
Right.
before we do that, we always forget to do this in the right order. Gotta talk about our socials. So I'm
right.
sorry, guys. I know everybody just wants to go straight to the movie. I'm kind of the same way when I'm listening to podcasts, especially if it's ones I've listened to millions of times. I'm like, okay, I don't really need to know your socials and stuff again. But we're gonna bore everybody with where you can find us, as we do every week, like we're doing right now. On Saturdays, we stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. All these episodes are streamed live. So if anybody's curious as what we do to get our audio, it's live every Saturday at twitch.com/slash the Barons Hideout underscore podcast. And you can also find us on Twitter, which is, I always mess up this handle. So give me 1 second, guys, because I have a million handles. So on Twitter, it's the BHO underscore podcast on Twitter. And that's where I'm pretty much active. We're also on Instagram, which is just the Barons Hideout. And we're also on TikTok, which is also just the Barons Hideout underscore podcast. So, Aaron, where can people find you if they want to come and see some awesome pics of kitty cats?
If you want to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at double AA row. That's double AAROW. Feel free to follow me. I'll be posting updates on all the any information on the podcast. When we go live, all that. But yeah, like Dustin said, pictures of cats.
Yeah, he has very cute cats and he has very cute rats. So if you guys like cats and rats, go check out his Instagram. We also have a Discord, which if anybody is interested in that, I usually post that in with the link tree, I believe, on all the places that this episode gets put onto. Um, Also our Patreon, which has been getting some activity. And should we
Yeah.
talk about who came and supported us this week out of the blue?
Oh yes, yes we should.
So I woke up, I think it was Thursday morning,
Mm-hmm.
because we had to switch around our schedule today. Because for anybody who doesn't know, we do exclusive topic based episodes over on Patreon weekly. We try to do them on Wednesday, but we had to switch it around this week due to Aaron's sanity. So I woke up getting ready to record with Aaron on Thursday morning, and I woke up to Spencer Charnas, the lead singer slash mastermind of Ice Nine Kills, came in, dropped us some dollar bills.
Oh yeah.
And it's very fitting because we were doing our Ice Nine Kills episode that day. So I was just like, very weird. So Spencer, if you're listening to
Like he
this,
knew.
man, thank you so much for coming and supporting us fools and listening to us, talk about movies badly.
Much appreciated.
Yes, and I usually go over the tiers every single time we talk about our Patreon, and it's literally just a bunch of stuff. If you guys want to check it out, just because it takes so much time to go and go through all of them, make sure you go and just check out the Baron's Hideout _ podcast on Patreon. And we have 3 tiers. It starts at $1, it goes to $3, and then it goes to $6. So make sure you come and support us a little bit. I was trying one thing that I thought Patreon had, and I could have sworn it had it a long time ago, was like a free one where you could just
Mm-hmm.
go there and just follow it, and you would
Yeah,
just
yeah.
be there to just show some sort of support. Just because I am the type of person that doesn't really like asking money from people,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time we're doing something that's really fun and everybody likes it and we want to get better, and with any kind of support that you guys want to throw towards us, it's going to make everything that we do here a lot better and allow us to do better things and look better and sound better. So I think that's about it for where you can find us. And now I will let Aaron take us away
Time travel
into
back to 84.
summer of '84.
Alrighty. So start off, and you got your typical 80s, like uh suburbs, just all the houses are the same, they all got manicured lawns,
Yep.
just a normal average neighborhood. Nothing weird goes on there. Um, but then we meet Davy, who is um a local boy in a town called Ipswich, Oregon.
Yep.
Which actually I'm not sure if that's even a real town or not, but
I didn't look that up, so I don't
yeah,
know.
me either.
Uh,
I even asked Courtney, because my girlfriend, because she's from Oregon, but she didn't
so for anybody who wants to fill us in on that, please leave a comment or
know.
anything and correct us.
But anyways, Davy is a paper delivery boy. Uh, he's riding through town. He's making his deliveries, and he comes across his neighbor, Mr. Mackey. Right? Yeah, Mackey,
Yep, Mr. Mackey.
who is a police officer. Uh, a little background. There is a killer in town.
Well,
First, it's just
quote
13.
unquote in town, yeah.
Yeah, in town. Yeah, teenage boys over the past decade. I believe it was 13 teenage boys had gone missing.
Yeah, something like
Um,
that.
and nobody, they didn't really have any, cracks in the case. One thing to know about Davey though is he's a conspiracy theorist.
Our
He's got a
favorite.
history. Yep. He's got a history with his friends and his family for being like almost paranoid and like looking into things a little too much. But he may
Don't
be
we?
onto something this time.
But the funny thing is like when we're at that age, don't we kind of do that? Like we're
We're all
always
like
like
that. Yeah,
questioning things and trying
that's what
to
you.
get like explanations for like weird things, and
Yep.
we get intrigued by the weird stuff, you know. So I feel like I was like that when I was younger because I think he's
Adventurous.
I don't think they disclosed how old they are, but they must be
I
14,
think he's like
15.
15. Yeah. So probably about a freshman in high school. Freshman, maybe beginning sophomore year, something like that. I mean, it's not really that important, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're all about 15 years old.
And obviously we
Uh,
don't see the school because it's the summer.
Summer of '84. Not the school year. um, so uh, he is suspects that his neighbor, Mr. Mackey, is a serial killer. Uh, at this point, he doesn't really have any solid evidence. He delivers his newspaper to him,
Yep.
and he invites him in his house to help him carry something down to his basement. Um, and Davey is his father's journalist, so he's really into like camera work, direct, wanting to like learn to direct movies and photography stuff like that. He sees Mackey's black room, super intrigued by it.
Yep.
So he's helping him carry. I don't even know what it was. Some kind of piece of furniture, though.
It looked like some sort of sorting table. It had I think like drawers in it, and then on the top it was like
Yeah.
flat. So I imagine he's probably gonna use that to just have like if he's using it for with what we think he's using it for, maybe just for like blank paper or something for film. And
Yeah.
also when they go down there, we get like a little bit of like a jump scare from
Oh, the water heater.
the water heater, which I think was kind of I don't
It
know if
was
that
a
was
little.
really called for,
It was a
but
little cheap, but it was
yeah.
a nice like way to open it, I guess.
And also, did
Because you
you
don't.
realize how dark his house is? He has no
Oh
lights
my
on.
god, I know. And, yeah, none of the switches work throughout the movie.
Yeah, it's just like that is
This
so
guy's got
weird.
really faulty wiring.
How is this guy living in the dark? And the only light that we see is the sun, and then the lights in the dark room is very weird.
A little creepy, but so uh yeah, so as I mentioned, Davey has a history of being a conspiracy theorist, so people just kind of they just take everything he says with a grain of salt at
Yep.
this point. They don't believe him. um so but he's convinced at this point.
Yeah, he's
But
yeah, especially like after they get in at the clubhouse and all the other
yep.
stuff, and
Oh, they start watching funny. they're like they're looking at the magazines and
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah,
The little clubhouse, yeah. But yeah, classic eats.
yeah.
But anyways, as teenage boys continue to go missing, so it's 13 and growing at this point, and they start calling the killer the Cape May Slayer.
Yes,
Um,
they do. I think he um when does that happen? Does that happen like at the beginning of the movie?
yeah, I
Is he
think
like
it's
watching it
close
with
to
his
the.
mom? I think.
I think it's he goes onto the phone, and his dad is on the phone, but he gets like called in.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so after they do the whole like they have like a quick game of manhunt, and another thing we need to
Oh
note
yeah, yeah.
here is that when they're doing manhunt, Davy sees a boy in Mackey's
Oh yeah, that's a
house.
big thing I forgot to mention.
So he's in the house, and then he looks away, or like his other friends, which all his friends, their names are Eats. That's like short for crap, I didn't write down his. Actually, I did
I
write down his
actually
full
have
name.
it right here somewhere.
His full
Eats.
name is Tommy, and his
Yep.
last name is Eaton, so they call him Eats.
Oh yeah, Eaton. Yep.
So we have him. We have Faraday, who is like the nerdy group, the nerdy boy in the group. Davy, who is
Smart one.
the main character we focus on, and
Like the
Woody.
leader.
So we have like all the stereotypical like group of
Like
boys. We got the nerdy one. We got the one who thinks he's a badass. We got the chubby one, and then we get the leader of the group. So it's like if you watch like if you watch
the
Stand by
Goonies,
Me, if you watch the Goonies, like anything that like revolves around
like mystery
youth.
and like in youth, yeah,
Yeah, like youth group movies. I usually just call these like kid group movies because that's what they usually are, and they usually in like mystery movies and horror
yeah,
movies and like the TV show like Stranger Things. That's another one that you can add on to there. So this is
yep.
like a pretty popular, uh, um,
Like genre
yeah,
or like plot, I guess you can say.
yep,
Group of protagonists.
yeah. So there we get introduced to them when they're looking at the porn mag, right? I think they
Yep,
after he gets caught at manhunt, they go and hang out in the
it's like a
clubhouse,
treehouse.
which I think it's Eats backyard. He says
Yeah,
that his dad's gonna like tear it down or something,
yep.
and I don't know, like this part, this, and especially with all like the your mom jokes, I feel like this movie came out a little too late. I
Yeah,
think if this was like earlier in like the 2000s, I think this movie would have
like
hit a little bit harder.
yeah.
But
Um,
it's still fun. I
yeah.
still enjoy it a lot.
I
But
noticed too, like little things like the way they talk. It's not like obviously, like I said, like the setting, it's like back in and like, but the
exactly,
way they talk is very, I guess, modern or like, um, they talk more so how people would nowadays.
yeah,
Like little things like phrasing or certain words that they use, but
yeah. I think they did that just to kind of modernize it just a little bit for
yeah.
us. So then, yeah, after that, he starts talking about all the boys being missing, and then like, oh God, here goes Davy again, talking about his conspiracy theories and all that stuff. And then Davy goes home, and then he looks at Nikki's house, and they're joking, and he's joking, saying like, oh, I see her naked because Nikki's like this girl that they're all like, oh my God, she's like the perfect person,
Yep.
and
She used to be his babysitter, right?
used to be Davy's babysitter and all this other stuff, and they live like side by side. So he's like joking around, like, "Oh, I see them naked," and then we get like after he does that, we see like him go to his other window and then look at another house, and then Mackie's house, and the house besides Mackie's house is all black. And then at this point, Mackie actually has lights on in his house, so I guess he only turns them on at night, which is weird.
but,
Uh,
but yeah,
then so do we get the walkie-talkie scene here, or is that
that's a little bit further.
yeah? So yeah, because then I think they meet. Oh, there's something I have to add here. Because they go to the next day. I think he also says, "Hey, let's go to Ipswich Lanes." So
Oh, the
it's like
bowling alley.
a
Yep.
bowling alley, and they see Nikki there, who's DJing. I guess she's like also like a DJ on top of being like the hottest person in town, or like whatever. And it's funny because if anybody catches on to this, and I know for the people who watch like the Angry Video Game Nerd, they have Polybius cabinets that they're playing. And I'm going to go on a little backstory here of what Polybius is, or I should say, quote unquote, is. Apparently, like there was people. This is like another conspiracy theory thing, so it ties into the movie a little bit. You know, they don't talk about this, but it kind of cool that
Hmm.
I guess people thought that the government set up these cabinets in certain arcades, and it was called Polybius, and it was like a trial of like three different games, and apparently there were like news stories and stuff in the 80s of kids like passing out or having heart attacks or
Oh, really?
something, and then they were like in the arcade, like people would see like Men in Black and stuff like that,
Wow.
and then one day all of the Polybius cabinets just disappeared, and nobody knows like what happened. They don't even know if it was real. They don't know if it was fake. So I think that's really cool. There was like two or three of them, which is very weird. Because what I
Huh.
heard from stories and just like looking it up throughout a year or so since the Angry Video Game Nerd episode came out, they would only be like one in each like arcade um, store.
Like, huh?
So I think that's really really cool that they added something like that into the
Yeah,
you don't really see what's being played on the screen, so I don't know how in depth they went in their knowledge
yeah.
of what Polybius is.
That's pretty
So
cool though. I mean, it's scary, but
oh
and
yeah, it's definitely
it wouldn't
scary.
like surprise me if like the government was doing some kind of like psychological tests or something back at then. But
Yeah, I know, right?
um,
Just like, oh, all the kids are playing video games. Let's set up this one cabinet and then see what happens. So yeah, they see Nikki, and then I think it cuts to like a family dinner with Davy, and the news is on, and I don't think they're talking about the Cape May Slayer yet. I just watched
um,
this and I completely forget because there's a couple of different like
yeah, same.
TV scenes. I didn't write it down here, so I think it probably happens later on.
Yeah.
So Davy's mom tells his dad like, "Hey, someone dropped this off for you. Look at this." And he's like, "Oh, this must be the stuff for the May Festival." He looks at it, then he starts talking about how Nikki's parents are being divorced, and then
Oh
Davy's like,
yeah.
"What?" And
Yeah.
then his mom's like, "Okay, well, it's not gossip. Let's just stop."
Hmm.
Then we cut to Davy upstairs. I think he's about to go to bed, or his mom saw him reading a book. I forget. There's multiple
Yep.
scenes that are running through my mind, but what I've written down here is that he hears the phone go off while he's going to bed, and then overhears his dad talking to somebody saying that somebody wrote in a letter saying that they're the Cape May Slayer and that they've killed like 13 people. So then
Yeah.
he then walkies his friends and tells them, and then everything just starts going absolutely crazy. They start really digging into this conspiracy theory thing, and I think it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Then
Um.
I also have, I think the boys actually go over to Davy's house and they see um, Nikki undressing in Davy's window, which I think is kind of funny, but also kind of weird. I don't know
Yeah.
how
I
old
mean,
this girl is.
probably a little bit. I think she's going to college, so she's probably a little bit older than them. You know.
I'm hoping that she's at least of age, because I mean, I don't think they would film something with somebody not of age, right? I think that would be kind of
No.
like illegal. But
No.
yeah, they're all like, "Oh shit, like duck down, man, duck down." Like, and then
He
Davy's just
just
standing
stands
there
there.
like, "Oh shit, she saw me," because she turns around and stares at him, and I think it's pretty funny.
Love at first sight. Was it?
Yeah. Then we get like a little bit of more conspiracy theory stuff in there, theorizing that the Slayer wrote this letter. I believe they're in the the library at this point, trying to get more information as to who this is and what the
Yep.
killings are and where they are. And they're like, Davy tells, I believe Faraday, like, I think he wrote this letter in to kind of up the stakes because like
Isn't that?
nobody could find where he is or anything. He's
Yeah.
been killing like multiple people, and then they are looking on. I don't know what it's called, but when you go to like a library to have like an archive of like newspapers and other
Oh,
stuff.
I think it is the words archive. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be like a newspaper archive or something, and they just look at like all the people who were killed or gone missing, and they
Hmm.
kind of tie that in.
Didn't like there's a real killer that they never caught. The Trinity Killer, I think they call him. That did that same thing though. He'd like write letters like to cops or like to like police stations directly and be like, "Oh, I am the killer," and just
Yeah.
swear.
Oh my God.
And he would like start give them puzzles and stuff.
Crap. What was his actual name?
I,
What was his actual like killer name?
I think it was Trinity Killer, but I could be
Because there
wrong.
was a couple of them. If anybody is listening right now and
Oh
who's
no,
like
I'm
in the
thinking of
chat, let
Dexter.
us know. Because there was a killer who did that. I think in like the 50s or 60s or something like that.
Yeah.
And they would like write in like newspaper clippings and like make like puzzles and stuff. I totally forget. There's a couple of games that are based off him too, I believe, and I think there's actually a movie. For some
Yeah.
reason, the name is just escaping me, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Trinity Killer though. I was just thinking of that's from Dexter. I do forget the Zodiac Killer. That's what they call him.
Zodiac, that's it. Yes,
Yes,
that's exactly
that's
right.
what
The
it was.
Zodiac Killer. Yes, yeah, he did
Yeah,
some
I
crazy
don't think
shit.
they ever caught him
Um,
to this day.
I'm not sure. That's something I'll have to look up after this.
Yeah.
And really see.
But yeah, that kind of reminded me of that though, the
Oh,
letter and
imagine
stuff.
if they took the angle on this though, and the
Yeah,
boys
right.
got like stuff like that to follow.
Oh man,
That I think that would have played out
that would have been
really
pretty
really cool.
crazy. Yeah, but
Then yeah, after they go there, that we cut to another night of I guess them trying to play manhunt.
yep.
And they're like, "Oh, one of our dudes is down, Sammy. We gotta figure out where he is and all this other stuff." And then they kind of branch off. Woody goes and deals with some of the other kids, while the rest of the main group go over to Sammy's house, which is the house that Danny, oh my God,
Uh,
Davey was looking at in the beginning after he looked at Nikki's house and saw
yep.
that the lights were all out, and then Mackie's house was all lit up. So they go there, the lights are still all out. They try opening up the door, and it's locked.
Locked.
And then I was like, okay, well, Sammy's not here, so I'm not playing Manhunt. Sorry, numbers aren't up.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
and
did
yeah,
they
I'll let you take it away
discover?
from here.
Okay. At this point, did they discover the milk carton yet? Because I think that's right
Yes, this is
after.
when
Yeah.
Davey sees the milk carton. Yep.
Yeah. So his parents are out on a date night. Which if there's a serial killer on the loose, after teenage boys and my only kid's a teenage boy, I'm not gonna be out on a date night and leave my kid home alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but
Especially me being a father, I wouldn't do that.
all right. Um, but different times, I guess. They weren't worried about it clearly.
Yeah,
uh,
not as much as I should be.
um, so Davey's home alone. There's a note on the fridge. It's got like phone numbers and contacts on it, which will come into play later.
Yep.
Uh, but there's a note from his dad. It's like working late again. Order a pizza or something like that. So he makes himself a peanut butter and jelly. It shows him making a sandwich,
It
and
looked
then
really good, dude.
yeah, it
That
did
made me
right.
very hungry. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. Something about movies. They just make food looks like the simplest things look so much better.
I know, right?
um, but yeah, I can make it looks like he made a bomb PB and J. Um, so he pours himself a glass of milk, and this is when they have cartons still, like cardboard cartons, uh, and they were posting like missing children and
Yeah.
stuff of that nature on the back of them. He's drinking his milk. He notices the back, and he sees, I believe it's Sammy, right? Or no, not Sammy, the other kid,
Dusty. We find out
Dusty.
his name. One
Um,
thing I want to note is as weird. This is gonna sound very weird, guys. I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna sound super fucking weird. But like, there are still like milks out there that put like that are in cartons, and I always kind of wanted to see a missing person on a milk carton.
yeah,
And that sounds very weird,
because
but
you really only see it in movies and stuff.
yeah, exactly. And I really wanted to experience. I mean, I don't want anybody to go missing. I want to make that like completely like known. I don't want anybody going missing, but I just want to see a missing person's face and stuff on a milk carton.
hmm
That I want to put that on my bucket list.
Right. Um,
But go ahead, Aaron.
yeah, I feel like they don't really do the cartons anymore, but so I think
No.
that kind of went away with those, but that would be pretty interesting. I mean, they still post like signs and shit at like
Yeah.
um yeah. Anyways, yeah, he notices this kid named Dusty, which went missing as well, uh on the back of a milk carton. He realizes who he is, and he's like, ah, shit. This just gives me more dirt.
Yes, it's like now I'm going really in.
Um, so he brings it to his friends. Uh, they're like, "Oh, good, you get any calcium in?" He's like, "No, look at the carton." He's like, "That's Dusty." Uh,
Like who?
like, "Oh, who's the ginger?" That's Dusty. He went missing a few days ago or whatever. And
Yeah, I
so
think it was like a few weeks ago. I think you said.
yeah, which, um, yeah. Uh, anyways, they're just like, oh, don't think anything of it. But then he ends up convincing them, like, there's something here, and they end up going along with it. So this is when I believe they start tracking um Mackey's schedule, I
Yeah, they
believe,
go
right?
super hardcore because I think also Eats brother who works at the hardware store
Oh yeah,
also
so
tells them, it was just like, so I've been told that Mackey's been grabbing like pounds and pounds of dirt
like
like every
hundreds of pounds of dirt, yeah.
like almost every day and all this other stuff, and they're just like, what?
Yep.
Who
So
who buys that much dirt?
and like pickaxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, so this is
But
when they start going like really
uh,
crazy.
yeah, so they're following this guy around constantly, day and night, with notepads,
Checking his
taking notes.
trash.
Yeah, going through his trash, blaming it on raccoons.
Yeah.
Um, because there was one scene where Davy's cleaning up trash, and his father's like, "Oh, make sure it's clean. It's those damn raccoons. Make sure you put the brick on the lid."
Yep.
Um, apparently, this town's got a raccoon problem. Was this Pawnee from Parks and Rec? uh,
Oh man, I'm glad that where I live, I don't really have to deal with raccoons. I
yeah,
mean, I
right.
think even like nowadays, I don't think they'll be able to tip over the trash cans that we have.
Yeah,
They're not
I
made out
guess
of
it.
like tin like these
Yeah.
ones in this movie are.
hmm But so, um, yeah, so they're following him around. They get his schedule down. They're they have this everything written down, and they decide to, yeah, it's over a few nights, and then
Yep.
they wait for his nightly jog. They see him taking his trash out. They're like, "Oh, I wonder what that is." Davey, at least, it was like he's interested in that shit. He's like, they're like, "We're not digging through his trash." He's like, "There could be evidence, and there could be fingers or
Bloody
bloody
rags.
bandages or something." Yeah. So they're like, "Okay, you dig through it then." So Davey's digging through the trash. He's like, "You can't clean that up." He's like, "Well, I'll just blame it on the raccoons." um. So uh, right after this guy leaves for his 11 p.m. jog, which is a little
Yeah, it's just
strange.
like I understand like morning jogs, but 11 at
Yeah,
night?
right.
Um,
Uh,
usually people are gonna be jogging at night. It's literally like 3 o'clock in the morning or some weird shit.
yeah,
I
right.
I've
Like
known
before
people
getting ready for
who,
work.
yeah, like I've known people who jog and stuff, but they would never go at night. I think the latest they
Yeah,
would go was like 9 because
yeah,
that's when it's dark, but it's not completely dark, especially during the summer.
exactly. But yeah, so as you mentioned, Eats brother, his name slipped my mind.
I
Uh,
think it's Taylor, Tyler.
Tyler, something
I
like
think
that.
I didn't write down his
Um,
name because he was not really that important.
yeah, I was gonna say he's not super important. Except for the fact that he gives them a little bit of information.
Yeah,
But
that's
he works at,
literally it.
yeah, it's his 21-year-old brother who they think is just kind of a piece of shit, to be honest. But or I think it was Nikki that thinks that, not like him, but he works at a hardware store, and he reported to them that pounds of dirt, pickaxes.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, they dig through his trash while he's on his nightly jog, and then uh, we go to a scene, I believe, where um with Woody. He goes home. He asks Davey, actually. He's like, "Oh, can I stay at your house tonight?" Which I remember doing that as a kid, not for like the same reasons, but like, it's
no,
like, "Oh,
for
can I
his
stay at
reason,
your
it's
place?"
like
Yeah. His mom was either like just worked constantly, or she was a drunk. I couldn't quite figure it out.
yeah.
Because I
Let's talk
remember the
about that
mention.
for a second because I thought maybe she was drunk, but I didn't really see any booze on the table. I don't think. I think I saw like a cup, but I think it was just coffee. But she
Yeah.
was also in, I think, like a waitress uniform, and
Yeah.
she's sitting on the couch and she's just bawling her eyes out, and she looks exhausted and all this other stuff.
hmm
But yeah, I couldn't make it out if I
She
don't know if
probably.
maybe she was beat, like if
Yeah.
she had like a boyfriend or something. We don't know about that. If she was exhausted from work, or if she was a drunk. But they even say later on, I think that she was worked off like sleeping off like a 36-hour shift. That just, I think it's either she was in like a nurse's outfit or a waitress outfit. Those two always kind of confuse me because they kind of look exactly the same. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, she could just. Sorry, it's like cutting out.
That's okay.
But yeah,
It'll pick back up.
yeah.
Gotta love
Um,
Zoom.
yeah, right. Either way, Woody, he doesn't have like the best home life. So he asks Davey, he's like, "Can I stay at your house tonight? You know, I don't want to be there at my house tonight." So
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." So he goes home, he grabs his stuff, he like puts a blanket over his mom, um, and then uh, we cut to Davy. He's at home alone again. Um, I think his parents are.
Alone again.
I
Boys alone all the time. I
know.
kind of feel bad, but at the same time, when I was younger, I kind of liked being alone. I still kind of
Yeah,
do.
right. Nice once in a while,
Yeah.
but so Davy hears a knock at the door. Uh, expecting it to be Woody, but
Yeah, it's like
it
super late
is.
too, isn't it? It's like 12
Yeah,
o'clock.
yeah, it's like midnight. So he's not expecting anyone but Woody. Um, he opens the door and it's his neighbor Nikki, the
Haha.
attractive girl next door. um, but yeah, and she just helps her. Walks right into his house, opens a fridge, grabs a beer, and walks up right into his room and starts um using his binoculars, checking out his view because she knows what's up. She knows he
Yeah.
can see into our bedroom at this
Yeah.
point. You know what's kind? You ever see the movie Disturbia?
Yes, I have.
It kind of reminds me of
Yes.
that movie where he
Wow,
was
that's a
spying on the.
movie I haven't seen in a long time. Didn't it have like Shia LaBeouf in it?
Yeah, yeah, Shia LaBeouf, and then I forget who the other dude was, but
Yeah, that was
um
like,
I liked it.
wow, throwback
It was a
movie.
right. Um,
Disturbia.
but yeah, when she started coming into his house and like looking at playing with all of his shit and like looking out through his binoculars, I kind of thought about that movie because that same thing happens.
Yeah,
But
and there's a lot of flirting that happens in the scene too.
oh
A
yeah,
lot.
oh yeah. So he's just kind of like, "What are you doing here?" As she's just making herself at home and she's kind of flirting with him. Uh, and I believe, let's see,
I think
yeah, so
his parents come home
yep,
and she has
yeah.
to
They're about to
skedaddle.
like kiss. Yeah, so she climbs out the window and dips. Uh and then after that, his parents get home, and she's gone. And
Yep.
we cut to another teenage boy in the middle of the night
Which I thought
outside.
this was Woody. I thought this
Yeah, I
was
thought
Woody at first.
me too. But yeah, we got another teenage boy. He's just running away. You don't know what he's running from. But he's in the middle of the night in like this like alley or something. And it's like, what are you doing out here, kid?
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but and then he sees him, he stops, sees nothing, and all of a sudden you got an arm that comes off the screen, puts a cloth, I assume with chloroform or something of that nature,
Yep. That's what I thought
over
too. I
his
was like, it's got to be
face.
chloroform. There's like nothing else you're really going to use other than
Yeah,
that.
and pulls him off screen. Uh,
And I think we hear like a van door or something open up too, or like a
yep,
car door.
yeah, you hear a car door shut and then a car drive off, I believe. Um, that's that for that scene. And then I believe this is when they convince Woody to steal his mom's car.
Yes, which is actually kind of funny.
Um, yeah. Uh,
Like, you look
it's
30, man. You're fine.
you look just like your dad. um, so his mom's passed out, presumably from overworking,
Yeah,
drinking.
36-hour shift, if you guys can believe
Yeah,
that.
right. Um,
God, I'd kill
never.
myself. I would just kill
Yeah,
myself. That's too much.
I'm all set with that. She's dedicated, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But so they decide they convince Woody, who's not so sure of the idea at first, to steal his mom's car, and they decide to tail Mackie while he's out doing his errands. Um, they follow him to the hardware store where Eat's brother works, and they come across him loading pounds and hundreds of pounds of dirt into his cruiser.
Yeah, it's just like,
Um,
hmm.
the pickaxe, shovels, you name it.
Like,
It's
that's
like
a
a
lot of dirt, and I'm kind of surprised that the car can hold that much.
I know, right?
Especially in a trunk. Like, it doesn't really weigh it down that much. You would think that the whole back end of
Just sink.
yeah, the car would just be like, okay, I can't go. But nope.
All right.
And then he loads in like shovels and pickaxes and stuff like that. Ugh, so much. Like if I was the owner of that store, like I would be happy. Like, okay, this guy's giving us a lot of business. Okay, he's
Yep.
giving us a lot of money and all this other stuff. I understand he's a cop and whatnot, but that is a lot of dirt, a lot of tools that he's gathering almost on like a daily basis. I think is what they
Yeah.
were saying, which is crazy.
Right.
I would be questioning that. I really would.
Yeah. We'll find out where that comes when that's used for
Yes.
later. So, uh, he leaves the hardware store, and they're like, follow him. We're gonna lose him." And so he's driving. Like any 15-year-old boy, no driving experience is going like 10 miles an hour down the road.
He was doing pretty good though.
Yeah, better than my first time driving, probably. But they decide to tell him, and they lose him. Then they realize there's a police car behind them, and they hear the sirens. He's like, fuck, shit,
It's
shit,
Mackie.
shit, I'm screwed. They're like, it's gonna be Mackie. What if it's him? We're fucked. He's gonna know we're following him. We're onto him, and um, see the police car door open. You just see some boots. Cuts
hmm
back to them. You see a little bit more of the officer's legs. Kind of keeps switching back a little
Yeah, building
bit.
some
If I
suspense.
Some suspense, yeah. Um, and then the officer, he makes it up to the driver's side window, and he goes, "I thought you were your dad. Um, what are you doing with your mom's car? Does she know you have it?" And um, he's like, "She's sleeping, and we wanted some snacks." Um, he's like,
Typical boy explanation.
"Yeah, right."
Just want some snacks, man.
And they must know him, because he can call him Officer Cole. Like
Yeah.
he knew who they all were. Um, so,
One thing I have to
um,
add here is like they have a rear view mirror. They could have just looked
mm,
in the mirror and been like, "Oh, it's just Officer Cole."
yeah,
But instead, they're
right.
all just like looking forward, like it's Mackie, Mackie, it's Mackie. It's like just turn your head a little bit, look in the
Yeah,
mirror,
see, and there's your answer.
and then you would know who it is. That's just my little gripe with that scene right there. But I understand why they
Yeah,
put that in there.
yeah. I mean, common sense in horror movies, I guess, like doesn't always
Yeah, and plus they have to
fit
build
in.
suspense somewhere,
Yeah,
somehow, you know. So then,
but
yeah, after they get into contact with Officer Cole, they all go home. Then we go to another scene where Faraday, I guess, stole some booze from his dad. I
yep.
don't know what it was. It was kind of quick.
I
I was
think it's
trying to read.
whiskey.
What was it?
I think it was like bourbon or whiskey or something.
Yes, it looked like that, but I was trying to read the label, but they kept passing it around and covering it, so I wasn't
Yeah.
able to see it. But it's funny because like Eats is like, oh wow, you're finally using your brains for something, but he's the one that takes the smallest sip. Everybody else
Yeah,
like
right.
takes like a huge gulp, and then he's just like, yeah, oh yeah, that's really really good and all this other stuff. But then they're saying like, oh well, we've been watching Mackie for weeks, man, and we haven't found anything. And then Davey's like, but maybe we missed it the first time. So then they go back to Sammy's house, the dark and locked house next to Mackie's house, and then they go there and they realize door is unlocked. They're like, it's unlocked now, and
What do
Davey's
we
like, this
do?
was locked last time, dude. Okay. And they're like, okay, well, first one in and whatever. And then Eat's like, whoa, dude, I was just kidding. I don't want to go in there. But then they all just go in, and then all the lights don't work. And then it smells really bad, and it's like trash everywhere.
Yep.
And then they find out that Nikki's there. And then she's like, well, I'm house sitting since they're gone. They said that they're gonna be gone for a while, so I'm here to house sit. At this
Take
point,
care of the cats and not.
at this point, I thought it was Nikki. I was like, it's Nikki. Nikki's
Yeah.
killing everybody. It's the girl, guys. And like at this point, it kind of makes sense because we're focusing so much on Nikki, and Nikki's the best. Nikki is huge, and
Yeah.
we all want Nikki. And you're kind of just like, it's Nikki. It's Nikki. And then this is when they also find out that Davy was telling the truth of every time he would say, "Yeah, I saw Nikki and told her about what's going on and blah blah blah." And they're like, "Wait a second, you're actually talking to him?" And like, yeah, and also he's like,
He's like more of a man than any of you jerk offs will be.
yeah, and then she just goes around the corner and starts smiling and all that stuff. Then we get the next operation that they're doing is Davy wants to go plant a an old walkie-talkie that they used over at Mackey's house. So they're gonna do that during a manhunt game, which is weird considering that last time they didn't want to play a manhunt because they didn't have enough numbers, but now they want to play
Hmm.
manhunt. So I don't know. So they go there and we get some like suspenseful things of like Mackie like walking around and they're watching them and we got people like Davy's on top of Woody and he's trying to put it on like the side like a vine thing that people have like on the side of their houses. I don't know what it's
The
called, but
vinyl.
I think it's just like yeah, vinyl with like vines and stuff like that.
I know what you're talking about the lattice and
Yeah,
yeah,
and just wants to stick it there because that will pick it up the most. So he gets it there. Then Davy gets down, and Mackey's just looking out the window and scares the shit out of Davy, and then he just runs. He's like, "Dude, we're fucked. We're fucked." And
it's not me.
then they go back, and it's just Woody and Davy, I believe. I think the other boys went home, and he's like, "I got to go back because the walkie's not working." So it's like, seriously, man, you couldn't have like, I understand you're under pressure and all this other stuff, but you couldn't have like figured that out before you went back home. Just
Yeah, right.
like talk into it real quick and make sure it's working, or just like do it before you put it up there.
Hmm.
Because I don't think he tested it at all. I think he just turned it on and turned it off, and that was it. So he goes there, and Mackie shows up behind him. We get like a little quick jump scare again, and then Mackie's like, "Oh, I owe you money again, so just come in the back and I'll get it for you." And then Davey sees like a shovel and
A bunch
what
of
looks to be like a grave.
it's like a freshly filled hole. Yeah.
Yeah, and the shovel's just there, and he like gives him money, and then Mackie also asks him, "Is like, hey, I see you guys using these old walkies. Why don't you come grab the old ones that we have, that I have that are out of commission now from the force, and they're still really, really good. They pick up everything. Okay, like picks up everything, dude. Okay, I don't wonder you want them to take it because you want to know what they're doing. That's like my thought process.
Yep.
Come take this one. I
I didn't
won't
even
tell you
think
where
of
the
that
other one
actually.
is, so I know what you guys are doing. So it's a good thing that Davey didn't take it because I think that's exactly what he would have done in this movie would have been
I didn't even
completely
think of
different.
that. That would have been a it would have been a nice like
That would have been
twist though.
completely different
That would have been cool.
because
Yeah.
then he would have been stalking them. Would have been
Yep.
like a back and forth type thing.
Hmm.
So Davey's like, no, I'm good. He just takes the money and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. And then the walkie starts bugging out. He's like, oh yeah, these things, they really are really old, huh? And then walks
He's like,
away.
he's like, the
Then
offer
we,
still stands.
yeah, then we cut to the nighttime where Davy is still staking out, looking at the house, and then he sees Mackie in the window doing the exact same thing to him. And at this point,
uh,
I'm just like, dude, he's fucked. It completely fucked. And then he like backs away, and he looks out again, and then the walkie-talkie is just
just chilling on the window.
on the window. I'm like, dude, this is great.
I like that scene.
I love where this movie's going right now. We need more of this because it's kind of slow up until this point. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're getting into good shit
That's when it
now.
starts to pick up. Yeah.
Yeah, then he calls all his friends like, dude, it's like 1 in the morning. You're gonna like, wake up my mom. And he's like, we need to meet at the treehouse right now. So they all meet at the treehouse. Davy's like, listen, Mackie knows what I'm doing. He knows he's on to me. He has the walkie-talkie. I can't do anything right now. You guys need to go out and follow him. So when he goes out for his jog, which is it must be the next day, I'm guessing
Yeah.
because they say that he goes out at 11, but then they're meeting up at 1 o'clock in the morning or
Yeah.
whenever it is. So they must like talk about this, and it cuts to the next day of going through the plan. So Davy wants Faraday and Woody to follow Mackie to wherever he jogs to, and we find out it's a storage unit with a spare car and the dirt and all. I think the pickaxe and the shovel and some chemicals, which we'll find out what it is later.
Yep.
While eats and Davy are back at his house, and they want to dig up what Davy saw the other day and make sure there's no body in it. They find out
Yep.
there's nothing in there. Then also Faraday and Woody get like a close call with Mackie because he hears like a noise outside, and I guess they managed to run from where they're hiding from behind the garbage
To like
around the building
another
very, very
building.
quickly.
Yeah.
So props on them for doing that, but I don't know how they did that without him not seeing. So then,
Right. I would have gotten caught.
yeah, me too. So then after the hiding, Mackie takes the car. They don't know where they're going. I think they try walking the boys, but I think they're throwing dirt on the walkies so they don't hear it. So we then they decide to go and look in his shed, and Davey can't unlock it because it's locked. But he's like, "Heh, I know how to do
I
this,
got
man.
this.
I unlock doors all the time. What are you talking about? Just let me do it." So he just unlocks it with one. I think it's a bobby pin, which I always thought you needed two things. You need a bobby pin and then something else
Like a screwdriver or
to like
something.
jiggle
Yeah.
it. So I don't know.
That's
Maybe
what
he
I
needs to find
thought.
like another new like meta way of unlocking locks.
He said I think in one part he says he's like, oh, I just jiggle it around a lot and
Yeah,
it
he's just like,
eventually opens.
just okay, guys. If you want to lock a door, just stick something in there and jiggle it a lot, and it'll eventually just let go. I'm gonna try that to see if it actually works.
Yeah. Right.
So they go in there, and Davy sees Dusty's bloody shirt, the shirt that he saw in Mackie's house some odd weeks ago. It has to be like a month ago at this point.
Yeah.
And then they get jump scared by Faraday and Woody, and they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well, we found the shirt." Then they go back to Davy's house, and they talk about what they found. And Woody's like, "I see this chemical," and he like spells it out. And then
Oh, it
Faraday's
smells
like,
Noah.
he's like, "Dude, this is chemicals to like break down like flesh and bones and stuff that they use at like I guess
Yep.
he said like roadkill um
Oh yeah, yeah.
places, which is like there's a place where they put roadkill. So I don't know. I thought they just like
Sodium hydroxide is what it was.
yeah. So they
Um,
decide that okay, so this guy's up to something because it hides the smell and it also just decomposes like pretty much anything
yep.
apparently. I don't know if that's actually real.
I think so.
I didn't look that up, so that's something I probably should have looked up to see if
Um,
that chemical actually does what they're saying it does.
yeah. I think that's the same stuff they use in Breaking Bad too. If you
Yeah,
ever seen
actually, yeah, I
Breaking
think so
Bad,
too. Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
they talk about that, and then Davey's like,
he's
"I got good news for you, Woody. Time to tell my parents." It's like
oh yep,
at this point, though, I don't think that's enough evidence. I think you need something that they can see.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
maybe
Like
if they
hard
brought
concrete, like
something, I mean, I think at that during this time, cameras would have made a lot of noise and would have been really, really bright. Maybe that's
mhm.
not something you should have done, but no. Like, what could they have brought back to the parents to make them actually believe?
To convince them. Yeah,
Like, they
that's
showed them the shirt, but that also doesn't mean anything because even like the dad says, like, well, the shirt doesn't really prove anything, man.
yeah,
So he's like, you guys are gonna go home and tell your parents what happened, and I'm gonna call them, let them make sure they know what's gonna happen. And Davey, you're grounded until further notice. So he's
yep,
like, we're gonna go over to Mackie's house, and you're gonna tell him exactly what you did, and you're gonna apologize. So that's what they do. Mackie's just like, oh, it's no problem. But are boys being boys, you know. Like when I was
yeah,
their age, I was doing like the exact same thing and all this other stuff. And then this is when shit gets even worse for Davy because the next
um,
day, Mackie shows up at Davy's house. And before I talk about what happens here, I think before when Randall, which I think is Davy's father's name,
yep,
is talking to Mackie, he's like, "You want? I can tell you whose shirt that is, and I can call him right
there,
now. It's my
yeah,
nephew. He was just here, and he was helping with something, and he just cut his hand, and so I just put it away." So now, fast forwarding back to when Mackie shows up at Davy's house, he's like, "Is there anything I can do to lighten the sentence? Can I talk to your parents or anything like that? Is there anything I can do?" And Davy's like, "You taking me up on an offer of calling your nephew and to actually explain to me what happened. And Mackey's like, well, in order for me to do that, I kind of need to get in the house. And the
Use
David's
the
like, no, 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 no,
phone.
no. Our cord
You
is
got a
like
long cord.
way too long, dude. I can bring it to you. Takes the phone, and as he's grabbing it, Mackie just steps in the house anyway. And we get some like really eerie music. And I think even at this point, Davy's house lights are off too. Like there's like no lights in the
Yeah,
house at all. What is up with these people not having lights in their house? I understand it's during the
conscious about their
day.
electric bills.
Yeah, something like that. But he brings the phone to Mackie, and Mackie is like, "Oh, well, my son, I think he says lives in like Seattle or something." It's like, so he's probably might be at a game right now because of the time difference. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
call. This rings and rings and rings and rings. He's like, "Well, okay, no one answered." So but and then he's like, "But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna talk to your parents anyway. I'm gonna get this sentence lightened for you, and I'm gonna do everything I can. And also, Davy, I'm gonna make sure I catch that dude." He's like, okay, thank you. But Davy, being the conspiracy theorist and being the smart one, decides to call the operator, which I didn't know you could do this.
Yeah, me either.
Calls the operator, is like, hey, operator, can you tell me the last number that was dialed on this phone? So he writes it down, and then he realizes next to all the
Mackey's.
other numbers that his parents wrote down for him, it was Mackie's own house.
Yeah.
So at this point, Aaron, what are you thinking? Like, what's going through your mind? Like, are you
At,
expecting something really bad to happen? Are you expecting them to actually get evidence this time? Like, what are you thinking?
well, Mackey's definitely being shady. I feel like at this point,
One
like
hundred
why,
percent.
if it's really your nephew, why do you need to fake a phone call and
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
but no, so there's something definitely going on with him. But I think Davy's definitely very determined to get some hard evidence on this guy.
Yep.
So he's starting to make a break in the case.
Yeah. I also have to say, like the actor who plays Mackie, Rich
Yeah.
Summer, I think every time he's in frame, he just steals the movie. His voice is great. He has a
Hmm.
great look. He does creepy and weird very, very well, and he has that smile and that
Yeah.
face. It's just like, okay, this
It,
guy, he's got something, something in his closet, you know.
yeah. Right.
But
But
it's
I
very good.
agree.
I really like his acting in this movie.
Uh,
But back to what you
It
were
was
saying.
good. Um. Oh, but yeah. No, he's there's something going on, and Davies, he's getting there. He's getting close. He's determined. Find it. He knows at this
Exactly.
point. But
And now
then I
I will
believe,
let you carry on what happens next in this film. This is when everything is kind of out on the table and it starts going really in a way different direction than the rest of the
and you
movie
expect,
was.
yeah.
It,
Um.
in some ways, it kind of falls apart, and then in some ways, it still kind of holds itself. I feel
Mhm,
anyway.
yeah. I'm gonna do that. But then we cut to the TV, I believe,
Yep.
and Mackie is doing a broadcast or like like a big announcement, and uh, he supposedly catches the killer. They say they have somebody in custody.
I think
They
this is the
arrested
same
some.
day, too, that he
Yeah,
saw
I think it's
Davy.
like immediately
Like,
after. But
hmm.
yeah,
Okay, dude.
so right. Like at least give it some time, or but I guess if you're trying to cover up murders, supposedly, or maybe covering up murders, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. You got to get
you
somebody
want to
in
make it
there.
look realistic, but oh, but yeah. So he sees him on TV and he's like, "Oh, this piece of shit," because he's convinced. He's like, "He's the killer. He's the killer."
Yeah, I think he
Um,
also has like the walkie on too, right? So his friends can hear him.
yep, yeah. So he's talking to his friends. He gathers them together. He's like, "We got to go on one more mission." He's like, "I need you guys." Um,
Yep.
he's like,
Kind of
"I'm
like the last
grounded."
chance.
Yeah. And they're hesitant at first. They don't want any more part of this. They already almost got, or Davy's already grounded. They already got lectured in
Yeah.
trouble. They don't want to lose their summers too. So they're like, "Nah, man, you're on your own on this." And then he manages to convince them, and they end up agreeing to help him out.
Yeah, which I think
They
is
do the
also kind of a
class.
solid plan too that they come up with.
Yeah, yeah, for like
Davey's very
teenage kid.
smart.
Yeah, so.
Covers everything he possibly
hmm
can.
So, but yeah, they come up with a plan to there's like this big town festival that Mackie that the whole town goes to, so nobody's gonna be home at that point. They plan to steal Davy's dad's news camera,
Yeah.
which in the previously in the movie he's told him, he's like, it's off limits, it belongs to the company, you're not allowed to touch it. Um
Which also, what's really weird is that you think his dad would have that because it's a festival. You think it would be doing like coverage of the
yeah,
fest,
right.
but I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, so Davy's stuck home alone again because his parents decide to go to this festival without him. He's grounded for the summer or until further notice.
Yep.
Uh, so they come up with a plan, foolproof plan, which I mean, like you said, it's a pretty solid plan. But
Yeah,
they
totally.
wait. They know Mackey's gonna be there. Everybody's gonna be there, so nobody's around. Um, he's like, we're gonna go in his house. We're gonna look in his basement, and I'm gonna get video footage of whatever's in there, and I'm gonna out this guy that people are gonna know what he is.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
he's gonna show his true colors.
yeah. So, um, but yeah. So their plan is they have, I believe it's uh the nerdy kid. I forget his name. Mayo
Faraday.
Faraday. Yeah, it's kind of a strange
Yeah,
name.
that's
So
another thing with
like,
this movie is like you kind of don't grasp onto their names until maybe the second time you watch this movie,
yeah.
which is weird because usually movies like this they want to get you to know the characters' names like immediately, but there was like
hmm
I wasn't really completely familiarized with everybody's
Who
names
everyone
until
was.
literally
Yeah.
the end of the movie, which I
Yeah.
think
Same.
is not a good thing.
I wish they provided a little more background, like so
Hmm.
you can kind of like get to know the characters a little bit more. Like, I was reading other people's reviews on the movie too, and like I said, like they'd wish that it showed like how they became friends or why they're friends, why instead of like rather just like they're just tolerating each other and just a
Yeah,
group
like
of kids.
we kind of see into the background of like we saw Woody's background of like what he kind of
Yeah.
deals with at home, and then we also kind of see Eats, but we never see Faraday. We see him walking with his parents to the fest, which is at this point, but that's it.
Yeah.
We don't really
Yeah.
know anything
Not a lot of background.
of anything. We have way more Davy and not enough of the rest of the group. It's like
Yeah.
Davy and Nikki, they try to focus on a little too much, I feel. So
Yeah.
we are familiar with Nikki more than we're familiar with the rest of the group.
I know,
You
right?
know?
And she's not even in it as much as they are, I feel like.
No.
But yeah. So they get Pharaoh away. He's at the festival with his parents. So they make that part of the plan. They're like, Mackey's gonna be there. I want you to tell him, keep an eye on him. Give us a heads up, if he leaves early or something. Um, so and then we got um Davy and Woody. Um, they decide they're gonna go into the house, and then I got Eats. He's down the street at a bus stop,
Yeah, just
keeping
to
lookout
kind of
too.
like, hey, sit there and just look pretty.
Make noise if so. But anyways, they're outside the house. They open a window, and Davy's like, uh, you know, uh, Woody. He's like, hold the window open for me. I'm climbing. I'm going in. He's like, well, wait for me. Hold the window. I'm coming in too. He's like, no. He's like I'm not letting my best friend go in there alone.
It's like
So
that's a good friend, dude. Like
yeah,
I'm if I had to put myself in the shoes of I would say Woody at this point. Like I don't want
yeah,
to be Davy. If I was Woody, I would have been like, "Hey, go have fun.
yeah, right.
I'll be here. I'll just knock on this window if I see anything." It's like
Yeah, right.
whatever, man. But
That's the extent of my involvement.
yeah. So I have to give Woody some props at this point of being
Yeah,
a true friend and really like.
and just being sticking through them all the way,
And I have to
sticking.
say, guys, pay attention because the reason why they're doing this with Woody is because they're trying to get you to like him a little bit more in this part, okay? But that's all I'm saying
Get
because we'll get to it. But at this point, they really want you to try to
a
bond
feel
with
for
Woody a little
him
bit
and
more.
yeah,
And they
get to know him.
also, if I have to really think about it, I think they tried doing that throughout the movie already, more
Yeah,
than like the rest of it because
kind of sympathize for him.
yeah, because his mother. He's also I think with Davy the most, but at this point
Yeah,
it's like they're really trying to be like, okay, focus a little bit more on Woody. Like I
yeah.
said, that's all I'm saying until we get to the yeah.
But anyways, so they both go into the house. They're both in, the window's shut, and we got another jump scare. And
These
who is
jump
it?
scares.
But Nikki again.
These
And they're like, "What?" They're like, "You got to stop doing that shit. Why do you keep doing that?" She's like, "'Cause it's so easy to get you guys." And like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "I want to help." She's like, "I thought you didn't believe it, believe me." And she's like,
yeah.
"Well, you're like one of the only people left in town, that I actually like to be around. I don't want anything happening to you."
hmm
So,
And
but
like also like I was saying before, how I thought Nikki was the killer. At this point, I thought Nikki was helping Mackie because like why the hell would she
yeah,
be
right.
in his house after they entered?
hmm But yeah, I don't know. She's girl.
Yes.
um, yeah. Then got Faraway, who's at the festival, and he's watching Mackie, and he realizes all the gardening supplies he buys, all the dirt, all the shovels, and pickaxes, were actually
Man.
for a police project to beautify the piers and plant flowers, like thousands and thousands of flowers, I guess. So he's freaking out. He's like, "Oh, well, he's not the killer. That's that settles it." And so he's over to Davey. And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "We got bad news," or something like that. He's
Yep.
like, he's not the killer. He's like, "You need to get out of there." And he's like, "I'm done," basically. So then Davey's like, he's like, "No, I'm not convinced." He's like, "I'm gonna keep looking."
Yeah,
So
good
they
on
go
him.
further.
Good on
Yeah,
him, you know. Like I already came this far, dude. I'm in the house. I'm fucking going. I don't care.
yeah, right.
I would be the
I'm gonna
same
look
way.
anyway. So they go into the basement and they find a locked door. Davey remembers a little lesson that Eats gave him and just wiggled a bobby pin into the door and it just happens to open for him. And he's like, "Where'd you learn to do that? Would Eats teach you that?" And he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it," or something like that.
It's like just stick it in there and wiggle it, boys.
Life advice. um, yeah, so they get that open. Um, then Eats is chilling on the bench at the bus stop with his headphones in, listening to his music.
I think it's
And
also like kind of falling asleep.
yeah, he's kind of starts dozing off, and all of a sudden he's like startled by something. It's like Faraway. He's like something about like titties or something like that, or he said,
It's always about titties.
yeah. And he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "What are you doing?" Um, so they just start talking. He sort of explains. He's like, "Yeah, Mackie's not the killer." He's like, "I'm out. Davy's crazy," and
Yep.
and then Eats at there was a one part too where right before this whole mission starts where Eats is leaving his house and his parents are fighting. You can hear them
Oh yeah,
outside
yeah,
yelling, throwing shit, and his older brother is out there by his car. He's like, "Oh, you need a lift, limp dick or something like that," and he's like, "Fuck you," and he just
yeah,
starts walking away. Um,
yeah. A little bit more
so
backstory on another character, but not enough.
yeah, you can see he kind of starts to tear up though. He doesn't obviously what kid likes their parents to fight, so
Exactly.
but um and his brother's basically just like making fun of him and calling him a bitch, but so carry back to the mission though. Um he asks Faraway, he's like, "Can I sleep at your house tonight?" He's like, "I do not want to be home tonight. I don't want to witness a murder suicide or something like
Yeah,
that."
yeah.
Um so he's like, "Yeah, that's fine."
That's sad though,
So
man.
yeah, right. Imagine not wanting to be at your own house.
I mean,
Um
I've been there, but
Yeah.
Not to the
I
point where I
think,
thought someone was gonna kill somebody, you know.
but yeah. So they unlock. They're exploring the basement. We cut back to the basement. They're exploring, and they discover yet another locked door. This guy, he's hiding something. Gotta be.
Yeah, exactly.
um,
And
but
it's a really
so that,
creepy room too that they walk into.
yeah, it's kind of like it's like a really small. It's like a long room though. It's almost like a long rectangle. It's kind of a weird shape.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
they even say like, is this where he lived as a kid?
yeah,
Because it
and
was
then
like
they're like,
pictures and a bed and dresser and
yep.
everything. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah. So they find a baseball and it's addressed to Mackie from when he was a kid. It was like 54 or 53 or something like that. I forget what the year was.
I think it was
In the
54.
yeah, so like 30 years before, this whole thing's happening, and um they're like, oh, I wonder if this is his old bedroom or his childhood bedroom. This is where he was living. And then they're like, oh, these houses weren't built until, after that, so it can't be. So then um they find like a curtain, almost like a shower curtain, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think they're in the
They just
bathroom.
Yeah, it's like a bathroom, or they look in the the black room for the photos where they're developing and hanging, and they see pictures of who but the missing kid. Um and they're like, shit, that's like solid evidence here. So he's filming,
Yeah.
and he's get footage of all these pictures. And he's like, all right, let's get out of here. And they pull back a curtain. There's a decayed, half dead teenager just chilling in the
Yeah, I
bathtub.
think that's Dusty.
Yeah, Dusty. Oh no, I think it was is it Sammy?
Is it?
I think it's
Oh,
Sammy that's
maybe.
half decomposed, and then they find a hand grabs Nikki's leg, I believe it is, and she freaks out, and they realize it's Dusty, the other kid. I
Is that?
believe, I can't remember. I get them
I
mixed
think
up.
I think the person who grabs them is the dude that we saw get grabbed, and I don't think that
Oh
was
yeah, that's
Dusty.
who I'm thinking of. Yeah. So,
So
but they
yeah, I
realize,
must have Dusty must have already like kind of like been like posed and like gotten rid of, or
yeah,
maybe he's in that tub. Like all the
yeah,
everything in the tub is just everybody. Who
ugh,
knows? And then
like a human
yeah,
soup,
maybe Sammy is the one that's actually that you see decomposed. But the person
maybe.
who grabs is definitely the dude that we saw get like abducted.
Yeah. But he's like, "Help me!" They're like, "What's going on here?" And they get footage of the dead bodies and of him and all the pictures. So they're like, "Okay, we got what we need. Get the fuck out of here."
Yep.
Um, so cut to the police station.
And they're all just like, fuck.
They're like, "Oh, we're gonna find this piece of shit." Like they know instantly. They're like, he's got a dirty background or something like that. I'm pretty sure, but um,
Yeah, something like that. And another thing to add too is that we never actually saw the dude that Mackie caught. We saw a picture of him, but
yeah,
there was nothing on like the TV of like this is who it is
yeah,
and
true.
all this other stuff, and like now he's in court or whatever. Like, we don't see any of that. It's just a picture, and then we cut to now Mackie is the actual killer.
Yep. So,
Imagine if it,
yeah.
imagine if it wasn't Mackie though.
Oh my god, I know, right?
Like they went down there, and they didn't see anything.
I know. Honestly, I thought that's what was gonna happen. Is they're gonna search his house and everything was gonna be gone.
Yeah,
But
I was kind of thinking that too. It's like okay, even like from reading like what this movie is, like a conspiracy theorist teenager thinks that his neighbor, who's a police officer, is a serial killer. I thought at the end everything was just going to be in his head,
yeah,
which I think would have been
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. That would have been a nice, interesting concept on it, or like take on it.
Hmm.
And then another important part, they're upstairs in this house and they see pictures of all kinds of people on his wall. They assume, oh, they're family photos.
Yeah, and Davey
Um,
sees them in the beginning. He even like says like, "Oh, you have a really big family, huh?" And then Mackie's
oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, well you don't want to keep them too close because they'll come knocking on your door."
yep. And he realize then he sees a picture of him and his parents and realizes they're all his victims, Pat, because it shows flashbacks to like the milk carton and newspapers and stuff like that, and he realizes they're all the kids went missing, and he sees a picture of himself, and that's when he realizes he's next.
Yes, sir.
Um, but yeah,
Crazy shit, man.
that's when they showed the footage to the police, and they decided to search Mackey's house. Um,
Yeah, and this part too, it's so weird because they set up all the police are at Mackey's house, right? They don't set up
yeah,
anywhere else. They
no
just
roadblocks or anything.
set up at his house, and they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna stay here until he comes home." Do you think, even if he wasn't a serial killer, if he was like a normal dude, do you think he's just gonna come home knowing that there's every single cop in front of my house with the lights on and everything?
Yeah, right.
Fuck no, dude. I'm not gonna go home.
Yeah,
So
right.
as they are staking out, and Woody is sleeping over Davy's house, and then Davy's parents say, "Okay, well, the police are gonna handle it from here. Everything's gonna be fine. Just go to sleep, and then we'll figure out everything else in the morning. And by the way, I'm sorry that I doubted you and all this other stuff. And like, you were right. I was wrong."
Yeah.
So then they go to sleep, and like, dude, I fucking knew this. I fucking knew this from the beginning. Mackie is just in the attic. He comes down, goes over to Davy's room. Uh, don't think he does anything to Woody, but we see him like chloroform Davy,
Yep.
which is exactly what he did to the dude at the beginning of the movie that we saw. Then Davy and Woody wake up. Now this right here feels like a completely different movie. As soon as we get to the car scene, it feels
Oh
different.
yeah.
I don't know if you get like a different feeling of it, but it's like they were trying to do two different things here because this feels more okay. Now we're in slasher territory, guys. Before we were just in sort of
Like
family
thriller.
friendly, this like crazy thriller movie, and now it's like we're in Slasherville, and here's Jason. So this is where I think the movie kind of falls apart. Not gonna say it's not a good sequence because it is. It's a really good sequence. If the
Yeah.
whole movie was like this,
Yeah.
if
Exactly.
so they wake up and they're like, "Where the hell am I?" We're in the car. They're tied up. Davy somehow unties Woody, and Woody unties Davy, and then Mackey's outside like banging on the windows and stuff. And I guess he kept the doors unlocked because they wanted him to run. So he's doing a hunt, pretty much like just go guys, have fun, go home. So like, oh, we gotta go. They don't know where the hell they are. They kind of realize where they are. They're at like, I forget what to say. They say a lake, some sort of lake that they're like, oh, if we just keep running this way, we'll eventually hit the road or something that like that.
Yeah.
So they're being hunted, and Mackie, you can hear them at a distance, and they kind of get close a little bit. They're hiding behind trees, whatnot. Then Davy's like, they reach a part where there's a bunch of like dead bodies and bones and stuff, and it's like all like swamp like.
Yeah.
Davy's like, I'm gonna go and distract Mackie. Woody, you need to go back to the car and just get out of here and get
Go
help.
get help. Yeah.
So then Davy runs off and Woody runs, and then Davy manages to get his attention. I forget what the hell he says. He says something to Mackie. I think he calls him like an asshole or something like that. Like you're never
And
gonna
he's like, you
catch
sick
me.
fuck or something like that.
Yeah. So then he hides behind a tree while Woody's still running to the car. But Mackie, obviously, he's been in this woods millions of times, so he knows where people are gonna hide. And this comes up behind him and it's like slices him at the ankle. So now Davy's like kind of rendered useless. He was only like wobbling. Then we cut back
Yeah.
to where Woody is. And at this part, dude, this even feels like a different fucking movie.
I know. It
Like
just
this,
gets so dark so suddenly.
I don't know if this was called for. I really don't. But
Almost a little unnecessary, I feel.
yeah, it really is. It's like out of nowhere. It's like they were trying to go a completely different direction at this point. So then
Yeah.
Woody makes it back to the car. But I think he trips, and then Mackie's behind him and he sees him, and then Mackie catches him.
He like tackles him.
Yeah, like real hard, and then just slits his throat. And it's pretty vicious, and you see it too, and it's just like, dude, why? I loved Woody.
I know,
Why?
right?
Like this is what I was saying before. Like the whole like sequence before with them being at the house. It's
Hmm.
like they're trying to really get you to like Woody,
Everybody likes the fat kid.
and it's just like why? There was a part of me that's just like this is fake. I think Woody isn't actually dead. Maybe
See, that's
Woody's
what I
part of
thought too.
this. Like my mind was just like maybe he was part of this and blah blah blah. Maybe
I thought it
he's
was gonna be a
related
dream.
to Mackie and all this other stuff. Maybe Woody's the cousin or the nephew. And I was like, he's just gonna get up. So then Davey makes his way back to the car, finds Woody dead, Mackie nowhere. But then Mackie like grabs him and is like talking to him and is like, I'm gonna haunt you for the rest of your fucking life. Okay, when I
Like
was your
it,
kid, I was doing this exact same stuff. But now you're not gonna know where I am. You're gonna be looking over your shoulder. I'm gonna be there. You don't know where I'm gonna be, but I'm gonna be there. And then meanwhile, we see Woody in like the back, like dead. And I kept thinking like, Woody, get up, get up, get up, get up,
I know.
get up, Woody, get up, dude, just
Please,
get
Woody,
up.
get up.
Um,
He
but
doesn't.
then Mackie just lets Davey go. It's just like, let's go.
He just drives off. Leaves him in the woods.
And he's just like hobbling along, and then some dude. But it sucks too, because Woody's just left there. You
Yeah,
know,
but
I don't think they ever go back and get him. At least we don't see that.
yeah, I mean, we probably just yeah. I would assume if this were a real life situation, I'd hope they'd go back and collect
Yeah,
his
not
body.
just like
But
leave
like,
him. And then
I
they'll
don't
find all
blame.
the other like bones and stuff and be like, "Whoa, this guy's really sick."
Yeah, right.
um. So then a dude like picks up Davey on the side of the road. Is like, "You alright, dude?" And brings him to a hospital. And then his parents meet him there. Then we get like a little bit of another sequence, like the beginning of the movie, when Davey's talking about like the serial killer could be in a neighborhood. It could be your next door neighbor,
Yep.
anywhere. Not all these like little, um, I guess neighborhoods are all safe. And
Yeah.
we get end credits.
And what got me too, I love the quote at the end. He's like, "Serial killers live next door to somebody." And
Yeah,
I think like I
that's
don't know.
pretty. Like if you think about that deeply enough, maybe there is one next to us.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
yeah, like I don't
this
know.
the
Like
ending, dude. I just don't.
yeah.
After watching it 2 or 3 times, it still hits me the same way. It's like this is a different movie. It's a
Hmm.
different movie.
Yeah, it's like almost well, I guess that's one of the downsides to having multiple directors, like everybody's got different like
Yeah,
styles of
you talk about the directors because I didn't get any information on directors, so I'm gonna let Aaron talk about the people who actually were part of this film.
yeah. One thing I thought was interesting, yeah, was the fact that there's multiple directors for this movie. Which I feel like that's not very common, but I also like I don't know. I guess it depends on
Did you
what.
find out why there was multiple directors?
Um, no, I did not. Um, but
I wonder if it was just like
um,
a group and they were all just like, "Hey, let's all just direct this." Maybe it was like a
yeah,
shared
right.
effort.
Well, if you look at the cover,
Yeah, I
it,
have it on here. It says a film by
yeah, yeah.
RKSS. That's supposed to be like their
So
first
maybe
name
it's like a
initials.
group or something. Yeah,
Yeah, so maybe
but
it's something they're trying to start. Like, hey, we're just a bunch of dudes who like to direct, and we all do it, and we all want to have like our own little
yeah,
input. So it's kind of like them doing like an anthology in a way, even though it's not an
yeah.
anthology. You know what I mean?
But yeah, two of them actually have the same last name, but there are three directors, which kind of I guess would make sense as to why the movie switches almost like the direction so much. But we got Francois Simard. I'm not familiar with the name, but
I
I
think these are
believe
all like unknowns until
yeah,
like now, obviously.
yeah. Then you got Anouk Anouk Whistle, but spelled like Whisssell. Then you got Yohan Carl Whistle.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm not sure if those. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if those are not. So
Hmm.
must be siblings, but um,
Trying to figure
yeah,
out. Does it say where they're from?
that's what I'm gonna look up right now.
'Cause I thought I read
Prince,
somewhere that this was like an Indian film.
yeah, Francois Simard, director and writer known for Turbo Kid in Summer of '84.
Turbo Kid? That sounds
Yeah,
familiar to me. Maybe I've seen that. Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that was the one that was based on like it was originally like a cartoon or something.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think I definitely have seen that one.
Um, but yeah, find out where he's.
But anyway, this has like a bunch of
Yeah,
different directors, and I want to
so
go
it's kind of all over the
into
place.
the other actors because if we didn't do that, just
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
there's not really many. So the main character, Davy, is played by Graham Sherry. Sorry guys. Once again, I'm going to butcher these names. Okay, I'm horrible with names. But he starred in Stargirl and Fargo. I don't think I've seen any of those. He did look kind of familiar to me, but those movies I don't know. I only put like two movies that I think people might know from where these actors were from. Then we have the person who plays Eats, who is Judah Lewis, which I don't know why I didn't catch on to this because I've seen both of these movies. He played in
yeah.
Babysitter 1 and 2, the Netflix original. That's
I
really
think I've seen the
fucking.
first one.
It's really good. We need to cover those because those are also horror movies. And he was also in The Christmas Chronicles, which is also a Netflix original. Uh, he played Cole in Babysitter, who is also a main
Oh,
character.
okay.
So
That's
then
why I
we
recognize.
have the person who played Woody, who is Caleb Emery, and apparently he played in the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black, but I think he
Wait,
was
what?
just a quick side note character.
Oh, okay.
Then we have the person who played Faraday, who is Corey Gruder Andrew, and he starred in the CW's The 100. Never watched the show, but I know a lot of people said it was really good.
I liked from what I've seen.
And then this, I'm gonna really butcher this name. I'm so sorry, guys. Then the person who played Nikki is Teria Skaboy. I think that's how
Yeah,
you say
Tira
that.
Scovby or Pascovby. I don't know. I think she's like
It sounds Swiss or something
French
to me.
Canadian or something.
But she also starred in Riverdale. And I did see that movie. She played, what did I say, Polly? She played Polly
Yeah,
in that series. Then we have Rich Summer, who played Mackie, and he, I guess, was in Mad Men.
really.
Yeah, I never actually. I'm one of the few that has probably never watched Mad Men.
I think I've seen like bits and pieces, but like never actually sat and watched.
So, yeah, me either. But that is summer of '84. If I had to rate this movie, guys, I'm probably gonna put this one really harsh. This might be my lowest rated one yet. I think I have to put it at least at a 6.
Yeah,
A 6 out of 10 blood splatters for Dustin over here.
I'm gonna. I really liked everything about it up until the end. To be honest, I can't. Aside from like like I said, it almost like seemed like they switched genres like halfway through, but
Yes.
so that was kind of like weird. It kind of throws you off a bit, but I'm gonna go with 6 out of 10 as well.
And another reason why I'm going to do it is because of the your mom jokes that no one says anymore. Um, the not enough background on the characters except for
Yeah,
Davy. The weird ending that was completely different. I think I would have liked this movie a lot more if the whole movie was like that. If it had
yeah.
that same tone, it was as dark as that, and the dialogue was as dark as
Oh yeah,
that. Because
I
even
agree.
like the way the characters talk are completely different than the rest of the film. Like even Davy, like swearing and stuff. Davy didn't really swear that much,
Yeah.
and also like seeing them get cut and all the other stuff. It's just I think it would have been a
Yeah.
lot better if the whole film was kind of like that. Because the rest of
Mhm.
the film was kind of light and kind of funny,
Yeah. And
easy
then
to
it just gets
follow.
dark.
Yeah, and then just automatically like completely shifts tones completely. I mean, I would love to
Which
see more stuff by this group of directors to see what else
oh
they could
definitely.
do. But
Yeah.
this movie, after watching it 2 or 3 times, it's just like I could probably not watch this again. I'll be okay.
Yeah. Like it wasn't a bad movie,
No, by all
but
means, by all means, I don't want to say it was a bad
It was
movie.
just it's got its flaws like any movie, you know. There's no such thing as a perfect movie.
Exactly.
So but um yeah, I mean
So
I overall enjoyed it.
yeah, me too.
But
Me too. I thought it was really good. I just think they could have did a little bit more on the characters and stuff like
yeah,
that.
I'm with you there.
Um, but before we end, I want to talk about our guest for next month. Now that it's actually official, it's official. We got a
Mhm.
date. We don't have a time yet, but we have a
Still
date.
have a day.
I didn't want to really talk about this until we had an actual date. So next month, well, actually this month, because it's May
Oh
1st.
yeah, it is May now, huh?
So May 18th, we are going to be having a really cool dude on, and he's from the UK. He likes to make hot sauces, and he loves horror. And his name is Dean of the Dead. He does hot sauces on Instagram. He's very, very active on Instagram. So if you guys want to check him out, I'm going to be linking him to everything from here until the 18th, and probably even after then. So you guys can go check him out, give him some love. He is from the UK, so time zones are going to be a little bit weird once we start figuring this out. I don't know if it's going to be a live one just because of time zone differences, guys. So regardless, it's going to be uploaded on everything so everybody can hear it regardless. But yes, go check out Dean of the Dead hot sauce.
Like hot sauce.
Yes, and
I can't wait to try it myself.
I know. I am gonna order some stuff this week for Aaron and I to test it. Maybe we'll do it on one of these before we meet him, so that way we can kind of test the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
But that is it for summer of '84. Aaron, is there anything you want to add before we end? It doesn't have to be about the movie. It could be about anything.
Um I just like to bring up the Patreon again, you know. Um every little bit helps.
A lot of
We
exclusive stuff
appreciate
over there,
everything.
guys.
Yeah, we got weekly episodes every Wednesday, as Dustin said. You know, each episode's focused on a new subject. Last week we talked about Ice Nine Kills over Scream. So if you want to hear about that and our, you know, revisit about like 3 years later, then
I
you know,
actually have a topic for this week.
oh yeah,
I want to
here,
talk about two of my favorite companies right now, Fright Rags and Cavity Colors. I'm actually wearing some Cavity Colors stuff right here, which I wear pretty much on a daily basis on stream and off stream. And they are great clothing companies. So I think if you guys want to learn a little bit more about them and what they offer and how awesome they are and how great their clothes are, consider being Patreon today. For just $1, you guys get these episodes. Um, so go ahead and do that. That will be linked in all of the places this podcast is uploaded to. So I think on that note, this was the Baron's Hideout podcast. I'm your host, Dustin,
Aaron.
and we will see you guys on the next episode. Stay spooky, guys. Don't do anything stupid. Have a good
Or
one.
do. Bye bye.